Am I the asshole for refusing to borrow my wedding made by my mom dressed to my sister? Fuck weddings. I don't want to read no more wedding joints. At least not for this session. Not for this session. We only got. I'm giving y'all another 15 minutes. We not reading no more wedding joints. Am I the asshole for taking all of my neighbors' plants? Tari shit. I live next to a couple whom I'm friendly with, but not much past how are you and chat about things in the neighborhood. Last week I was out for a morning walk and noticed Amber lugging a butt ton of plants from her backyard to her porch. She said hello, so I stopped by to chat and see if she needed help. Looked like she was starting her own landscaping company. Turns out she finally felt inspired to work on a new garden she's been planning for months. She ripped out everything she currently had and was going to put it on the curb as freebies. I've always wanted to turn my lawn into a nice garden, so I felt like I struck gold. I offered to pay her because there was a substantial amount of shrubbery, but she refused. I wheelbarrowed everything over to my backyard, brought her some pastries as a thank you, offered cash again or to help with her new garden. She refused, and that was that. I spent the weekend with my boyfriend replanting everything, and our backyard looks great. Until I get a knock on my door yesterday from her husband. Turns out, he said she gave permission for him to tell me this. She struggles with bipolar disorder and was going through a manic episode. What's up, Zav? Bro, you came in a fucked up time, bro. There is no new garden that she's been plotting for months. Just a bipolar-induced attack on their backyard that she now regrets. She's too embarrassed to talk to me herself. I get it. I struggle with depression up the asshole. And the fewer people I have to explain myself to, the better. But she wants her plants back. Apparently that garden was her baby, and in a fit of mania, she destroyed it. I'm sad for her because shitty decisions when you're in the mental toilet suck, but like... She not gonna get this lady her plants back. She said, yeah, that sucks, but like, everything's already planted in my backyard, and I'm not willing to put it in the effort to dig everything back up, bitch. It'll look awful, and yeah, that's what they're dealing with now, but it's not my fault. I nicely told him pretty much and he just said okay and left. Now when I see them, they completely ignore me. I've crossed paths with them 3 times since, and her husband waved, but she didn't even look at me. I saw them taking soil and compost bags out of their car today, and Amber just looked really upset and not at all excited to be working on a new garden. My boyfriend thinks I should offer to give at least some of them back because I'm not exaggerating. She gave me a ton of plants. I just don't want her to think she can be rude to me after her mistake. They get what she wants. Am I the asshole? Yes. Yes, you're the asshole, dog. I'ma just be honest. I'ma just be honest, man. Edit. Ran through the business y'all sent me, and I've decided I'm going to give her a $100 gift card to our local nursery and see if she wants help planting. Someone made a great point that these plants will likely be dead within a week. LOL, especially if they get moved again. I mean, you know what? I don't know shit about plants. Hey Tari, you gotta be the one to say, is that true? If you transplant the plant like 2 times or like multiple times in a short amount of time, does that make them die? I don't know. If that's the case, I'm gonna cut OP some slack. But it's crazy. I get it, right? Like you see your neighbor throwing away a bunch of plants, and she say, "Hey, if you want these bitches, you can have them." And you like, "Oh shit, bet, good money." You know what I mean? Bet that's good deal. You wheelbarrow them back to your crib, you plant them up, and you think, "Oh, it's lit." Then her husband come through, and she like, "Hey," or he like, "Hey, we gonna need them plants back." My wife, she struggles with bipolar disorder. And she really didn't mean to give you all them plants. She was just kind of going through an episode. So can we get them bitches back? I think you should at least give some of them back. You know, at least after you I understand being upset because it's like that's fucked up. I didn't know that, and whatever. But after having them explain that to you, just give at least some of them back. At least give some of them back. They just told you she was going through a mental episode, nigga. She didn't really want to give you all them plants for real. Now she came to her senses and she like, shit, I want my plants back. And you, like you said, you deal with depression. Obviously, depression and bipolar aren't necessarily the same things, but I assume that you can understand like having your mind be fucked up by a mental illness. You would think that you would have some empathy and be like, all right, you know, or some sympathy. I always confuse which one is which. I don't know. I always forget which one is the one where you also know how it feels and you don't know how it feels or whatever. But you should have had both of them, one of them, and then just, you know, get the motherfucking plans back, or at least some of them. You know? Like I told my yard, like I get it. It's a fucked up situation, and I really don't think nobody is at fault. I don't think nobody is at fault, really. I think OP kind of at fault for like having been told, hey, my wife is not well mentally. She gave you those plants under a false pretense of, or not a false. She wasn't in her right state of mind. She wasn't in her right state of mind when she gave you those plants, and she would like them back. So can you just be a nice person and realize that a mentally ill person made a ill-advised decision under the effects of mental illness? So can you know, just have a little bit of empathy, please? Like, you know, I get it. It's fucked up. I'm not like it's a fucked up situation. It is fucked up, but it's like, you know, just be nice about it. Like, you know, sympathy is more distant usually, while empathy is a shared. Yeah, like I'm saying, like, empathy isn't. Bipolar and depression are not the same thing, but they're mental illnesses that both can have an effect on how you make decisions. So it's like, if you deal with depression, I know you kind of know what it feel like to be put in a position or feel like you made a decision that wasn't the best decision in that moment. Cause I've been like that. I've been depressed and been like, and said something or did something that I like look back on and been like, damn, I shouldn't have did that. But I know it was the depression fucking my head up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I don't think I'm bipolar. I don't, you know, I wouldn't know if I was or wasn't. But I'm saying, like, I assume that it must feel the same way, that, you know, it must feel the same to make an ill-advised decision under the effects of bipolar disorder as it does to make one under depression, right? So I'm like, you know, just be nice about it and be like, you know, I really was excited for these plants, and you did tell me that I could keep them, but now that I understand that you were literally not in the right state of mind, I'm gonna do the right thing and give you your plants back. It's an unfortunate situation, but I just think, you know, you gonna deny this lady her fucking plants, this mentally ill bitch? What if okay, yes, she gave the garden up. She gave the garden up in a moment of weakness or in a moment of mania. What if that garden is like the one thing that's keeping her sane on a good day? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just think it's fucked up. Like, are the plants is the work that it would take to dig the plants back up that serious for real? I don't know. I'm just like, damn, you gonna take this mentally ill lady's plants? That's some shit where, like, now you gotta move. Now you gotta move. You just gotta move off the block now. How much we got? I'll give y'all like one or two more stories and I'm up out of here. Am I the asshole for dismissing my disabled sister while she was crying? Yeah, now that's heavy. That's heavy. My sister, 18 female, has cerebral palsy. Now I regret clicking on this. That affects the usage of her right hand and leg. She was extreme, and the crazy part is the flare is not the asshole, so we have to read this. She was extremely lucky to have a more subtle case of cerebral palsy, but it still sometimes gets in the way of her lifestyle. Yeah, it's the palsy. I'm sure it gets in the way of her fucking lifestyle. She has completely given up getting any help with her disability after she got surgery to fix her way of walking. My sister is bipolar and is extremely sensitive. She gets easily overwhelmed and dramatizes any small issue. I've gotten used to this behavior as it has been going on for many years. However, there are just some times that I can't deal with it anymore. I can't take it anymore. Today was the exception. My sister had microwaved the pot pie, and as she took it out, she dropped it. Usually this never happens. In my opinion, I believe she got scared, it was hot, and accidentally slipped. She started swearing, then panicking for paper towels, then panicked for paper towels. We didn't have many, so she was frantically searching, occasionally yelling at our dogs, and physically pushing them to get out of her way. Then she started crying and complaining. I kept telling her to take a breather since it wasn't that big of a deal. I even went out of my way to clean a very small mess. Now this happens a lot. She gets so overwhelmed and starts crying and repeating herself, constantly saying how no one will ever understand what she is going through. Which is true, you can't ever experience what someone else is experiencing. She practically made her life seem like one big giant charity case when really, she just refuses to find different solutions to her problems. After hearing her complain repeatedly, crying hysterically, comparing her physical abilities to myself constantly, I got fed up. I told her to stop crying over little things because she won't get very far in life. She even cries when I don't help her take 3 grocery bags out of the car because she can't get up due to her weight, in my opinion. Since she can't use one hand. She even cries when I don't help her take 3 grocery bags out of the car because she can't get up due to her weight, in my opinion, since she can't use one hand. There have been multiple times when I went out of my way to prove to her that I can do things with one hand that she could have done. Her disability only limits her one hand. She can still use it, but she doesn't have much strength. She unfortunately uses her palsy as an excuse for everything. She said that I invalidated her feelings because I told her to be quiet and chill out. I also told her that she shouldn't let these small mishaps get in the way of her life. Zav with the 100 biddies, I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it, that's love. I also told her that she shouldn't let these small mishaps get in the way of her life because then she needs to be babies for the rest of her life. I may have let my own emotions get in the way because I slipped and said that it's tiring always hearing her complain about her life and her using her disability as an excuse for everything. She needs to learn to suck it up and find workarounds for the most challenging bits of having palsy. I feel guilty for being me, but I can't help but feel annoyed. I'm tired of being compared to our disability all the time. I got vocal about how I was feeling now, and she took it the wrong way. Am I the asshole for speaking up? Edit, I apologize. She assumed I was going to say more insulting things. She got up in my face. In the end, she apologized too, and I think we're okay for now. I mean, I feel what he said. It is giving some ableism. It is some ableism. But I feel what he's saying. But like, I don't know, bro. I don't know if I'm being safe. I don't know if I'm being pussy and being safe and being like, I don't want to say nothing about this person that got palsy, right? But like, you know, I'm sure that's depressing. You know what I'm saying? Like having palsy and being bipolar and all this other shit. I'm sure it's like hard, you know? I don't know, bruh. I don't know. I might be pussy and just skip. And then I don't want to say everybody sucks. Like I don't want to put no asshole on the person with palsy and bipolar, but at the same time, I'm like, at some point you do gotta like, you know, not suck it up and get over it, but I mean like, you spill some pot pie on the ground, you ain't gotta, you know, yell at the dogs and beat yourself up over it. It's a small mess. Just, you know, clean it up. I don't know, y'all. I'm gonna go with what y'all say. I defer my opinion to what chat says, because chat won't get me canceled. But if I say what I think, I might get canceled. So, but like, you know, like, Ramen hates disabled people. I don't, man. I love disabled people, man. I do. You already canceled? I believe that. You're probably right. On the one hand, there are things they can do to improve their life, sure. Do they be tweaking? Sure. But that's just like what having disabilities is like. You know? You know what? I'm going to stand 10 toes. I'm going to say everybody sucks. I'm standing 10 toes on that. Everybody sucks. All right, this is my last one. This is my last one and I'm out of here. This is my last one. Am I the asshole for wanting my boyfriend to drive me to work for 5 weeks? I just started a 5-week. Actually, I'm gonna play some Marvel Snap. I'll give y'all like 2 or 3 matches of Marvel Snap, then I'm out of here. I just started a 5-week long rotation at a hospital my boyfriend lives by. He agreed to let me stay with him during the 5 weeks and drop me off, pick me up. The problem is I didn't know my schedule until a few days prior, and when I told him I had to be there at 7 a.m., he backed out of the deal. He is now wanting me to walk 20 minutes to the hospital every morning. The sun doesn't start to rise until about 7 a.m. here, so most of the walk would be in the dark. For reference, where we live, it's not common for people to walk to work. I'd mostly be alone in the dark. I'm a small female, so it doesn't feel super safe. It's also currently below freezing temperatures here at that time, and only going to get colder and potentially snowy. Lastly, I am still a little bit recovering from a major abdominal surgery I had a little less than 3 months ago, so walking long distances still kind of sucks. Not to mention my disease is currently active and very painful. I really hate relying on others like this, but I asked weeks ago if he could drive me or if I need to figure something else out, and he promised to drive me. I could drive myself, but the problem is that the hospital parking lot costs $20 a day, and I'm technically not a staff member, so I can't get access to staff lots. I can't really afford $20 a day since this is a 40-hour work week or 40-hour a week rotation that does not pay me. Yikes. Damn. A 40-hour, wait, doesn't pay you like at all? What the fuck? Also, for reference, my boyfriend is a student taking an online class. The class posts recorded lectures so he can wake up whenever he wants. He doesn't have a job either. He just chooses to stay up until like 2 a.m. playing video games and doesn't want to wake up early. I would be a lot more understanding if he had a major conflict with the schedule, but he just purely doesn't want to. I feel like maybe I'm being a bit entitled here, but also at the same time feel like someone who cares about me should be okay with a minor inconvenience for a short period of time if it makes me safer and in less pain. It's also only about a 7-minute drive. So yeah, I guess I'm mostly wondering if this is normal in a relationship and if I'm expecting too much. Five weeks is not a short period. And like, I think, I can't tell if it was her fault or not that she didn't know what her schedule was. Because if it's not her fault that she didn't know what her schedule was, I think the boyfriend is an asshole. But if it's her fault that she didn't know what her schedule was and didn't tell him beforehand, then I don't think he's an asshole. I think, oh, that's weird, bro. I think the boyfriend is still an asshole, like, regardless. But I'm trying to decide if the OP is also an asshole or not. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because the boyfriend should just take her to work. But I want to see right now I feel like the girlfriend isn't an asshole. OP isn't an asshole. But I kind of feel like she might be an asshole though. The reason she don't want to drive herself is because she don't want to pay for the parking. The parking is $20 a day, and she says she ain't got it. And I guess the job not paying her, which is crazy. I'm like, you working at a hospital and they not paying you? I don't know how hospitals work. I don't know how you know how it usually works at a hospital. I'm not nowhere near smart enough to be a nurse or a doctor. You feel me? So I don't know, but I wouldn't want to pay $20 a day for parking either, to be honest. Especially if the job not paying me. Them niggas is crazy. Not the asshole. Question for OP. Have you inquired about a temporary parking permit from the hospital? It would be reasonable to inquire. Would an Uber in the morning be cheaper than the garage? I doubt it. Are we sure this guy's boyfriend material? I've known him for 4 paragraphs and have at least 3 red flags. They be trying to do anything to get a nigga to lose his girl. But I mean, honestly, he might not be boyfriend material. Let's keep it a buck. Everyone sucks here. He shouldn't have promised before knowing your schedule, and I guess you shouldn't expect someone to drive you around for 5 weeks. Is there no public transport to the hospital that you could take? That's also another, you know, it ain't no buses running by. It ain't no subway, you know, nothing. Also, after your first week, you're sure to have made some friends who are on a similar schedule, and maybe you can mention that you're walking using public transport, and that's if they can pick you up. Now, I would never do that. That's me personally, I would never do that, but carpool with some fucking strangers I just met a week ago? Nah, never. Not the asshole. Your boyfriend is selfish, inconsiderate, and only wants to help when it's convenient and comfortable for him. Lovely that he's letting you stay there with him, but that doesn't require him to actually do anything. It's completely passive, and he gains by it, as otherwise he potentially wouldn't see you as much. His schedule is pathetic. I'm an avid gamer too, but if my partner recovering from surgery and illness needed lifts to and from work for a few weeks, so not even a permanent thing, I'll just adjust my schedule to factor it in. Go to bed earlier, get up earlier, do my studies earlier, play games earlier. It's not an either or situation. He can still do all the things he is, just adjust it. Why do people make things so awkward for others out of sheer stupidity, selfishness, or spite? You know? Yeah. I'm gonna say it's a not the asshole for OP. OP isn't an asshole. Boyfriend is the asshole. That's my final verdict. Now y'all want to play some Marvel Snap? I'm gonna play like 2 games for y'all. They be fast. They be fast, man. Honestly, I just want to play some. I'm probably gonna hop off and play some on my phone, to be honest.